Greencastle is a small picturesque crossroads village situated between Omagh and Cookstown in the foothills of the Sperrins. Both the Owen Ray and Owen Carrew rivers run nearby. Greencastle was originally part of Bodoni Lower, but in 1892 it became a separate parish. It has boundaries to the north with Plumbridge Parish, to the south in Carrickmore and Killeenan. To the east it touches the County Derry border with Ballinascreen, and to the west Chiapa and Gortin. There are 21 townlands in Greencastle parish. St Patrick's Church, Greencastle, was extensively renovated in 1988, the work being commenced by Father Seamus Shields. St Mary's Church, Brookderg, was opened in 1885. It was replaced by the Church of Our Lady of the Wayside on a new site in 1985. Connyglen School closed in 1961. Our Lady of Lourdes Primary School in Greencastle was opened following the closure of a number of small primary schools in the parish, including Cashel, Greencastle, Crock and Brookderg. It opened its doors for the first time in September 1980 and has space for approximately 140 pupils. The school has enjoyed many achievements over the past 28 years and continues to provide a safe and caring environment to all in its care. The school is more than just a building within the community. It's a vibrant and living example of the health of the community, and long may it continue to be so. Up to the early years of the 20th century, there was as many as 1,500 Gaelic speakers in the area, and around 1910 it had an Irish college. It also has a proud history steeped in the struggle for Irish independence. The parish is quite rich in archaeological remains, including an Ogham stone situated in the townland of Ahascriba. The first GAA club was formed in 1932 at a meeting in Greencastle Parochial Hall. The club played under the title of Greencastle Erin's Hopes and played their football in St Patrick's Park, or the parochial field as it is known. The same ground now fittingly belongs to the present club. In the early days of the club, Father Malachi Morris from Cashel was appointed Secretary of the West Tyrone Board in 1933, a position he was to hold until the end of the 1934 season. Having been defeated in the 1935 junior final by Pomeroy, Greencastle Erin's Hopes won the Tyrone junior title on Sunday the 4th of July by defeating Cookstown Brian Oaks on a scoreline of 8 points to 1-2. Sadly though, 1937 was to signal an end of an era for Greencastle. In 5 years of competitive football, the record stood as league winners twice in 1934 and 35, runners-up twice in 1933 and 1936, West Tyrone champions in 1934, North West champions and beaten county finalists in 1935, and winners of the county final in 1936. Greencastle fielded again briefly in both the 1940s and 1950s, but due to emigration factors, players from the area played for neighbouring clubs, namely Gortin, Carrickmore, Kildress, Creggan and Omagh. The dawning of the 1960s showed that the school's populations were rising again, and informal challenge matches were being played between the neighbouring schools such as Crock, Cashel and Greencastle. The success of the Great Down team of the 1960s was to inject a new interest in Gaelic football among the young people in the north. It wasn't long before the first player of the parish, Colm Devlin, represented Tyrone Miners in Croke Park against Cork in the All-Ireland semi-final, having previously won the Ulster Championship. A new dawn was also breaking for the club, as the growing number of Greencastle players involved in Mountfield Club was to signal a new beginning for Greencastle GFC in 1969. Sunday the 26th of January 1969 was the date for the annual general meeting of Mountfield GFC and Cashel School. Due to the number of Greencastle personnel involved with Mountfield, it was only a matter of time until Greencastle came into being, and on the proposal of Sean Clark, seconded by Francis Ward, it was decided to reform Greencastle St Patrick's from that point in time, and so Greencastle GFC came into being.
The committee that was elected that day, the president was Father McFall PP, the vice president was Father McLaughlin, who was a curate, chairman was John Bradley, vice chairman was Peter Tracy, the secretary was Brenton Morris, assistant secretary Sean Clark, treasurer Kevin Morris, and a committee of PJ McDermott, Brian McDermott, Paddy McDermott, Mickey Bradley and Peter Joseph Keenan.
The new club had the first league match against Clogher on Sunday the 2nd of March 1969. The year began with high expectations and by all accounts the team competed well. This was followed by a good league run in 1970. After a few short years in existence, Greencastle had again reached a county final in 1971. The game itself was spoiled by a strong crossfield wind. The final score, Arbo 1-6, Greencastle 2-2. A case of so near, yet so far, once again. 1971 was also a significant year for Peter McDermott in that he won an Ulster Minor Championship with Tyrone, playing at right corner forward. Peter had the distinction of being the first player from the club to play in an All-Ireland final when he played in the Vocational Schools final in 1970, bringing the first All-Ireland medal to the parish. Indeed, Peter was also a member of the Tyrone Under-21 panel, which won the Ulster Championship in 1973. That year also marked the club's first dinner dance in the Royal Arms Omagh, with over 300 people in attendance. In 1972, Greencastle made up for defeat in the Championship by claiming the West Tyrone Junior League. Greencastle were promoted to the intermediate grade for the first time, and in a very impressive first year they recorded 25 points from 17 league games. Despite a solid start to the season in 1974, the team were relegated again to junior football due to a major shake-up in the league structure that saw 6 teams being relegated. 1977 did however show some promise by defeating Taddyray, Castlederg and Derry Tresk prior to meeting Killyclogher in the county final. Greencastle's league form, like Killyclogher, had been impressive that year. However, Killyclogher were to emerge victorious on a scoreline of 14 points to 3 points. In 1978, once again Greencastle were favourites to do well in the league, but once again it was a runners-up position. Unfortunately, that was not enough to earn promotion. The first round of the championship saw victory over Castlederg, followed by Mountjoy and Derry Tresk. Again, Greencastle were successful in winning through to their second county final appearance in successive years against Cookstown. Cookstown won by 1 point, but a protest by Greencastle over an irregularity in the Cookstown team resulted in a replay. In the replay, Cookstown won comfortably by 14 points to 0-1. So for the second year, Greencastle were runners-up in both league and championship. One big event that stood out in this era was the Greencastle Super Carnival Festival that took place in July 1980 over a period of 2 weeks. The event was the brainchild of the late Father Shields and was organised primarily to raise funds for the Greencastle parochial building. It was a groundbreaking event for its time, attracting such stars as Elsie Tanner, Vera Duckworth and Len Fairclough of Coronation Street. Charles Witherspoon, Jackie Fullerton, Roisin Waltz, Yule Dean and Leslie Dawes, all of UTV. Boxer Charlie Nash, England goalkeeper Ray Clemens, former Glasgow Celtic manager Martin O'Neill, Club Sound with George Jones, famous chef Joseph Barron and his team, famous disc jockey Tony Blackburn, jockey Harvey Smith, hypnotist Edwin Heath, golf's Nick Faldo and Christy O'Connor Sr. And the star attraction in the marquee, making his first appearance in Ireland since winning the Eurovision Song Contest, Johnny Logan. Many activities took place over the 2 weeks, including horse racing, pig racing, stock car racing, paragliding, clay pigeon shooting, sheepdog trials, wrestling, angling, cattle sales, circus acts, variety acts, cabaret, treasure hunts and piano smashing. Shortly afterwards, another special visitor in the form of a bishop from Botswana in Africa was invited by Father Shields to open the newly renovated Greencastle Church. Many locals would refer to him as the Black Bishop. Perhaps you may recognise some of the faces in the congregation. In 1985, Our Lady of the Wayside Church in Brockderg was opened by Bishop Edward Daly. With famine ravaging many parts of Africa, the Greencastle community played their part by becoming involved in sports aid for UNICEF. Pictured are a number of school children from Greencastle who all took part in the main sport aid event in Omagh. Indeed, interest in athletics rose in this period, and in the following year the first annual Greencastle 5-mile road race took place in 1986, primarily due to the hard work done by well-known local athlete Oliver McCullough. In 1987, the only ever local male winner to win this now prestigious event was Benny Slane from Greencastle Athletic Club, recording an impressive time of 27 minutes and 22 seconds. By 1989, the road race was increasing in its popularity, with athletes travelling from all over Ireland to participate in the event. Here we can see a few fresh-faced athletes braving the wintry conditions. Other community events worth a mention in this period were the plays that were organised involving local people. These included the Cuckoo, the Swallowtail Coat and Barney's Bull. These events all took place in the old community hall located beside Greencastle Chapel. Raymond Hollywood also shot into the limelight in 1989 by winning an All-Ireland boxing title, much to the delight of his family, friends and neighbours. 1984 saw the establishment of a camogie team in Greencastle. The team played their first game on the 8th of April 1984 in Malachy Coyle's Field. In 1986, the club won its first competition when they were victorious in the Tyrone Community Games Championship and went on to represent Tyrone. In 1987, the under-14s were defeated by Arboe in the county final. Interest for camogie remained high in the area for the remainder of this decade. In 1984-85, the club competed in Scoring an Ogue for the first time and again in senior score. The Parochial Hall hosted a very successful first round of senior score in 1985. Again in 1985-86 and 86-87, the club competed in Scoring an Ogue, but without much success, apart from a county final appearance by Kathleen McCullough. 1969 saw the club get the use of Paddy McNulty's home, and this was used up until 1982. Between 1982 and 1983, the club had no home ground and used neighbouring clubs such as Kildress, Gortin, Carrickmore and Pomeroy. Malachy Coyle's field in Formal was also used as a training ground. In 1985, the club moved to Jim McLaughlin's home in Alwarys, Glenhull. In 1985, a draw was organised, and undaunted ticket sellers, both men and women, went out to all parts of Tyrone, Derry and even Donegal. The contribution of all these people must be commended, as because the unforeseen work that they carried out put in place what many of us take for granted today. The official opening of Greencastle St Patrick's new playing facilities, club rooms and social centre took place on the 24th of July 1988. The pitch was opened by then Ulster Council Chairman Peter Quinn, and a challenge match between Tyrone and Derry took place to mark the occasion. The hope now was that the centre would be fully utilised by all the people of the area and take its rightful place as a sports centre and recreational facility for all age groups in the community. Despite groundbreaking moves occurring off the field of play for Greencastle, success on the field was not as evident in this decade. Despite reaching 3 county finals in the 70s, the seniors were unable to achieve a championship victory for 7 years, until finally defeating Castlederg in 1986. League form in the early part of the decade told a different story, however, the club being unlucky not to achieve promotion on several occasions, but were always pipped at the post by a narrow margin. A brand new rivalry had also emerged with neighbours Glenelly, narrowly defeating us in the 1983 playoff. 1983 was to produce some silverware, however, when an Onkiloo team captained by our own Pat Clark and managed by Peter McDermott triumphed in the Grade 1 minor league final. Many of these players would become the backbone of the team for the remainder of the decade and a good part of the next one as well. Peter McDermott represented Tyrone on the 1983 junior team, which won the Ulster Junior Championship. Michael Clark was selected on the 1987 Tyrone minor panel. As well as the opening of our new grounds in 1988, the club embarked on a new youth policy and fielded teams at under 12, under 14 and under 16 level. Coaching sessions by club stalwarts were attended to, so to pass on their knowledge to the next generation. The 1990s saw the Greencastle Boxing Day run grow each year in popularity, with increasing numbers attending each year in all types of weather conditions. 1996 marked the 10th anniversary and also the second local winner, with local athlete Olivia McCullough finishing in first place in the ladies. The 90s was dominated by one man, Donal Gallagher, who won the race on 7 occasions, setting 4 course records on the way. The standard of competition has increased greatly over the years, and a lot of the spade work is still being carried out by Oliver McCullough and his family. Oliver is pictured here himself taking part in the 1999 Dublin Marathon. Ceilidhs are now a regular occurrence in the hall. Here we have a few young faces practicing their footwork prior to becoming prominent members of Uncashlan Glass. A bowling club was also established in the parish during the 90s. Our local bar Eddie's, run by Martin and Katrina McCullough, won a coveted award in 1998 by being awarded the Community Bar of the Year. This involved Emmerdale's Alan Turner, as well as TV cameras from UTV and BBC covering the event, showcasing our local pub as one of the best around. Meanwhile, the television show Blind Date also rose to prominence in this decade, with her own local Cilla Black, Anne Donnelly, playing the matchmaker at McCrae's pub in Glenhull. Some of the contestants are a little bit younger and with various hairstyles on show. Camogie was still being played in the club in the early 90s, but was coming under increasing pressure from the growing popularity of ladies football. Spernog Ladies GFC was formed on the 3rd of December 1991 when a number of girls came together to form the club in response to an invitation in the local paper. Spernog was based in Mountfield initially, taking in the surrounding districts of Greencastle, Gortin and Lochmacrory. By 1987, however, clubs had been formed in both Lochmacrory and Bodoni. Greencastle and Mountfield still competed as Spernog, however due to the number of Greencastle participants, training and matches now took place in Greencastle. From 1997, underage teams were also competing at all levels. During the 90s, Spernog had county senior representatives in Martina McGordon, Margaret Carlin and Bernie Toohey. Spernog were runners-up in the Tyrone 7-a-side tournament, as well as winning the 1999 Under-12 League. The second major redevelopment of our facilities took place in 1989, with the opening of our new handball alley and changing facilities, as well as social function rooms. The new wing was opened by then Uachtaráin na hÉireann Sean McCaig from County Monaghan. Another aspect of our Gaelic games could now be taken up as a pastime for all of our members. Having now an established home and youth programme, attention was being turned to transform the fortunes of Greencastle on the football field. 1991 was to see the first real breakthrough at underage level under the joint management team of Peter McDermott and Peter Tracy, and captained by County Minor captain Sean Teague, when the league and championship minor double was achieved by defeating Ahalou in both finals. Peter McDermott and Peter Tracy took over the managerial reins in 1992 and started the year off again by winning the minor league, defeating the Rock in the final, a team captained by Barry Tracy. 1994 produced another championship winning team by comprehensively defeating Derry Loughlin under the management team of Oliver McCullough and Peter Noel McAleer, and captained by Plunkett McAleer. In 1989, our minors also secured a championship title by defeating Derry Loughlin again in the final under the management team of Mo Bradley and John Hollywood, and this team was captained by Paul McDermott. In 1994, the club won its first under-14 league title by beating a collegial team that included Kevin Hub Hughes as their captain. The team was managed by the Hollywood twins John and Vincy and captained by Seamus McDermott. 1992 was to break new ground for our senior team, as the first junior title was won since 1936 by defeating Kildress on a scoreline of 1-7 to 8 points, and it was a fitting way to celebrate the Golden Jubilee to mark 50 years of the establishment of the first club. It also marked a return to the intermediate grade for the first time since 1974.
That just shows you what it means to win a junior championship.
It's a great day for Greencastle now. It's the first time we've won this in 50 since 1936. So I'm not excited to forget. It's good for the lads, but we've been threatening to do that this last 3 or 4 years with our underage footballers.
It's Peter McDermott, long-serving member of Greencastle and team manager on the day. Tremendous day for Greencastle.
Good day for Greencastle, Francis. Great day for Greencastle. Long overdue.
Long overdue,
yeah.
And you must be deleted
the way they played.
The young players,
the young players especially were outstanding.
Outstanding.
So horse off it.
Frank Ward here, playing for a long time for Greencastle.
Thanks, Francis, yeah.
Emeritus Ward.
Yeah, that's right. It's 21 years since played in the last final. 71.
71.
Exactly 21 years later. And so it's just a reward, I think.
And a deterred off player there with Sean Stacey.
That's right. Done my best, you know.
Yes, of course. Done very, very well.
Pulled the muscle a bit, so I had to go.
So, delight for you.
At county level, Mickey Clark won an Ulster Under-21 medal for Tyrone in 1990, and his team was defeated by a Kerry team including the great Maurice Fitzgerald in the All-Ireland decider. Older stalwarts of the club, Colin Devlin and Peter Tracy, were also narrowly defeated in the 1990 All-Ireland Masters final against Kildare in that year. Sean Teague made his debut in the Ulster Minor Championship against Armagh in 1990 and captained the Tyrone Minors to the Ulster final in 1991. He won an Ulster and Under-21 All-Ireland title in 1992, the first to do so from the club. Sean also became the first player from the club to line out for Tyrone seniors against Armagh in the championship in 1993 against the experienced Ger Houlihan.
Rafferty collects, and that's Cian McGurk. Sean Teague young man from Greencastle. Nice work. And there's no doubt that at the moment anyway, the Armagh defence are playing with a lot of confidence. There's opposite number over Faye Devlin, and the Arboe man pumps it into towards McLean, and McLean is the man from English, he lives on the border with Armagh Tyrone, and he makes a habit as he said. John Brimley. A lovely ball by Brimley towards him. It's a heavy challenge as he endeavours to bring his side back into this game in the second half as Sean Teague attempts to get Tyrone on the way again.
Sean also lined out in Croke Park against Wexford in a league playoff before a serious leg injury was to put his county career on hold for a number of years. 1998 was to prove a fruitful year for Terry McDermott, who became the first player from the club to win an All-Ireland minor title playing for Tyrone. Terry was also to emulate his fellow Greencastle man Raymond Hollywood by winning an All-Ireland boxing title. In 1995, Greencastle were relegated from intermediate football. In 96 and 97, under the management team of local men Seamus Coyle and Francis Keenan, Greencastle performed well in the Junior League, and this was enough to warrant a promotion playoff against rivals Kildress in 97, which resulted in narrow defeat. However, the expectations were raised in 1998 when Newton Stewart's man Liam Morris joined the management team. The popular mentor struck up immediate rapport with the panel, and this resulted in championship victories over Eskra, Drumrah and Killyman, and finally the Rock in the junior final. Greencastle won on a scoreline of 9 points to 2-2 to return our senior team to intermediate status.
Two more chances, you won't be denied. When the heart is where it's always been, my head is somewhere in between. Give me one more chance, let me be alone tonight. You're the real thing. You're the real thing. Chance, and I'm gonna make you sing. Give me half a chance to ride on the waves that you bring. Your heart child to a swarm of bees, gonna blow right through you like a breeze. Give me one last dance, you slide down the surface of pain.
Having impressively gained promotion in 1998, Frank Ward took over the reins in 1999, and with hard work and endeavour with his team he ensured that Greencastle would be playing intermediate football going into the new millennium. Success on the field of play followed with the club's first Ulster title, albeit Ballykennellar Junior Sevens competition under the management of Sean Clark and captaincy of Tommy McDermott. The vision of success that had been much sought after during the planning stages of the latter part of the 80s had reaped dividends, with the club's silverware being won and county representation becoming a regular occurrence. The club could now look to the future with increased confidence into the new century. In the year 2000, local man Tommy McDermott shot to fame with an appearance in the inaugural series of Channel 4's Big Brother, bringing much excitement to the area.
Now we're down here in Greencastle, wee small part of Northern Ireland. There's nothing small about this Big Brother Keep Up campaign.
Big Brother Mania has not only gripped the nation, but more particularly Greencastle, home of Quack Man Thomas McDermott, who many are tipping to be a dark horse to win the contest.
He's the best of them all.
Why?
Because he's just very friendly and nice. He's the best football. He's like a brother to us all.
Well, there's no doubt that Greencastle here is gripped with Big Brother fever, and there's no doubt who they want in and who they want out. Goodness help Nick. Stephen Nolan, UTV Live.
The fifth person to leave the Big Brother house will be Thomas.
20 years after the Super Carnival Festival, the marquee was back at the crossroads as Tommy returned from the Big Brother house to a hero's welcome, with thousands of people coming from far and wide to catch a glimpse of Ireland's newest celebrity. In 2006, the 21st annual Greencastle 5-mile road race took place. The event was opened on this occasion by Girls Aloud singer Nadine Coyle. In previous years, the event has been opened by World Rally champion Niall McShay, as well as Philip Jordan along with the Sam Maguire Cup, and more recently by BBC presenter John Daly with Aaron McCusker from the hit show Shameless. 2008 saw nearly 700 athletes take part, with as many walkers completing the course. Local athlete Olivia McCullough also represented her country at an international cross-country event in this decade. Race organiser Oliver McCullough is seen here completing the 2004 London Marathon. This decade has witnessed many community events providing lots of entertainment, beginning with the TV show The Weakest Link, which provided some very interesting answers.
The drug which is also known as diazepam.
Viagra.
I took a stroll on the old long walk of the day. I met a little girl and we stopped to talk of a fine soft day. And I asked her friend, what's a fella to do? 'Cause her hair is black and her eyes are blue. And I knew right then I'd be taking a whirl and a sawtooth prom with a Galway girl. We're halfway there when the rain came down on the day. Cast me up to the flat downtown on a fine soft day. And I asked her friend, what's a fella to do? 'Cause her hair was black and her eyes were blue. I took her hand and I gave her a twirl. Oh, and I lost my heart to a Galway girl.
This is not the only vintage show to have taken place at the pitch. Spearnogue announced themselves onto the honours list in 2001 by winning the Junior League. And at underage level, the club won both under 14 and under 16 championships. 2002 was to be Spearnogue's most successful year in the field of play, when under the management team of Mickey Beggs and Francis Keenan, they were victorious in the Tyrone Intermediate League and Championship. The team also went on to represent Tyrone in the Ulster Championship and were defeated at the semi-final stage of the competition. Spernogue returned in 2003 to win the Grade 2 Minor League and Championship. The team was captained by Emer Teague and managed by Mickey Beggs and Claire Tracy. Spernogue were also awarded the Jolene Marlowe Memorial Trophy for Club of the Year. In 2005, Emer Teague was selected for the Tyrone senior team. Other girls have also represented their county. In 2008, Spernogue Minors won the Minor Championship. Sinead Faherty also won the Ulster Minor Championship with Tyrone. In 2005, Cumaneve Patrick got involved again in Score and now successfully enters both in Score na Nóg and Score Censure every year. The level of participation has grown within our club from year to year. 2008 was overwhelming as we were proudly represented in 5 sections: dance team, traditional music, recitation, solo singing and the quiz. The handball alley has been extensively used and much work has been done by coaches in developing the skills of those taking part. In the 06-07 season, Christopher Gillen, Daniel Toohey and Niamh Murphy brought the first county titles to the club. In the 07-08 season, 4 county titles were competed in, with Adrian Gillen, Christopher Gillen and Aidan Coyle narrowly missing out on success. Dara McDermott was triumphant in the under-10 final, beating Tiernan Mina from the Bracky Club. And Cashland Glass also has an excellent website monitored and maintained by Dermot Devlin. A word of thanks must also go out to all the people who have volunteered their services as referees and officials. Although, as Pedro McDermott can testify, that at the big games it's not always easy to keep your feet on the ground. The dawn of the new millennium was greeted with an air of enthusiasm and excitement for Cashland Glass. Notable achievements during this period included an All-Star from Marty Conway with his performances for Omagh CBS. Martin was joined on that successful Omagh CBS McCrory panel by Enda Clark and Fergal McCrory. Both Shane Coyle and Eden Clark were part of the 2005 McCrory winning panel. There was also under-14 success for Damien O'Hagan and Kevin Faherty, representing the Dean Brian McGurk School in Carrickmore. Sean Teague also became the first member of our club to captain the Tyrone senior football team. This was a great personal achievement for the man, considering the injuries he has sustained over the years. In 2001, Sean had the honour of captaining Tyrone to their first senior Ulster title of the new millennium. This was the first stepping stone in Tyrone's most successful decade in their history.
It was hats off to the Ulster champions as Tyrone fans got into party mood at the Greencastle club rooms. And when the historic moment came, Tyrone captain Sean Teague arriving with the Anglo-Celt Cup, the welcome was noisy and emotional. Everyone wanted to touch the famous silverware. Mum shed a tear or two, Dad bought a round of drinks, and a familiar chant went up for the champions. Greencastle is already famous, of course, put on the map by Tyrone Tom.
I did the day Tyrone and it was quite an honour. but the honour today belongs to my friend, teammate and Sean Teague, captain of the Tyrone senior team.
Something you always wanted to do. Sean, what does it feel like coming home to your home club here?
Well, all you have to do is look around you. You see all these young people here, and they're just all Tyrone supporters. Like, you know, it's fair enough. I'm from this part of the country, and it makes it all worthwhile. And you come back home, you see all these happy faces.
Sean also helped Tyrone to their first National League title in 2002. 2002 saw the appointment of new manager Joe Gilligan, and he was assisted by Peter Noel McAleer. The club won its first ever intermediate title, winning the Frank O'Neill Cup after a 7-match unbeaten run, ending in victory over Derrylaughan in the final. Tyrone won their first All-Ireland in 2003. In a mammoth effort over 22 league games, the senior team finished in second place. The Intermediate Reserve League was also won for the first time in the club's history. Due to a serious accident at work, Joe Gilligan was forced to step down from management. The club had lost a valuable member of the senior panel. At youth level in 2004, our minors were defeated in the Grade 3 Championship by Derry Tresk, but were successful in winning the Under-14 League and Championship under the management team of James Toohey and Nigel McCullough. The team defeated Clonoo in the league final and Pomeroy in the championship final, and this team was captained by Aaron Slane. The reserve team also completed the league and championship double. This was another first for the club. Despite the highs of Tyrone winning the All-Ireland in 2005, relegation to the Junior League was to follow. The start of 2006 was to see a lot of soul searching, and with the appointment of Sean Teague as manager and Barry Maguire as team coach came new ideas and techniques. What was to follow was the most successful period in the club's history.
as a bloom shoots up through the stony ground. There's no room, no space to rent in this town. You're out of luck, and the reason that you had to care, the traffic is stuck, and you're not moving anywhere. You thought you'd found a friend to take you out of this place, someone you could lend a hand in return for grace. It's a beautiful day. Sky falls, you feel like it's a beautiful day. So let it get away. You're on the road, but you've got no destination. You're in the mud, in the maze of her imagination. Your love is down, even if that doesn't ring true. You've been all over, and it's been all over you. It's a beautiful day. So let it get away. It's a beautiful day. Touch me, take me to that other place. Teach me, I know I'm not a hopeless case. See the world in green and blue. See China right in front of you. See the canyons broken by cloud. See the tuna fleets clearing the sea out. See the bedroom fires at night. See the oil fields at first light. And see the bird with a leaf in her mouth. After the flood, all the colors came out. It was a beautiful day. So let it get away. Beautiful touch me, take me to that other place. Release me, I know I'm not a hopeless case. What you don't have, you don't need it now. What you don't know, you can feel it somehow. What you don't have, you don't need it now. Don't need it now. It was a beautiful day.
Following on from this success at club level, on the school front, Conor Carson, Barry McGarvey and Barry McNulty won an All-Ireland vocational title with Tyrone. Eden Clark was also back in Croke Park, lining out at midfield in the successful Oma CBS Hogan Cup winning team. Sean Warnock was part of the Ulster and All-Ireland winning minor team of 2008, which completed a unique double for the O'Neill County. We all wish him well in 2009 and hope that he may be joined on the panel by a few of his Greencastle teammates this year. Daniel McDermott is currently part of the Tyrone Under-21 panel. In 2007, our new stand was opened, and a plaque dedicated to the founders of the 1932 Erin's Hope team was revealed at the site of the old parochial hall. In 2008, another two firsts were achieved. The club won the Grade 3 Under-16 Championship, defeating Clonagale under the management team of James Toohey and Emma Clark, and this team was captained by Ceathair McCullough. The last game of 2008 pitted Greencastle under-21s against Moortown in the Grade 2 final. The first under-21 title was won, with many of this team having played in Croke Park the previous year. With 1 year left in this decade, it's now time for this current panel to deliver. Belief, hard work, commitment and pride in our club are all key qualities in achieving this. Traits that this particular group of young men will have inherited from all who took the field before them. But like every new generation, it's up to them to develop the ideas and ideals of our previous generations, and in doing so, have to build a stronger club that will be able to compete in all the top competitions in Tyrone.
Short, my hair was long, caught somewhere between a boy and man. She was 17 and she was far from in between. It was summertime in northern Michigan. Splashing through the sandbar, talking by the campfire. The simple things in life, like when and where. We didn't have no internet, but man, I never will forget the way the moonlight shined upon her hair. And we were trying different things, and we were smoking funny things, making love out by the lake to our favorite song, sipping whiskey out the bottle, not thinking about tomorrow, singing Sweet Home Alabama all summer long.